guys, I had a couple of you email me and ask me how Barkley was doing today because he was limping yesterday. How you doing, buddy? You doing okay? Yeah, you good boy? You good dog? Yeah, stop, Mom. Just stop. All right, so I'm going to come over. He's like, I'm done. Bedtime. All right, I'm going to come back over here. Here I have my little station set up. And Addie's going to video for me again today. Okay, so we're going to do things a little bit differently today. Addie, stop. Okay, so today is day 3 of remote learning. And we're going to be focusing on the task that I had assigned you in your paperwork. On your paperwork, I had asked for you to do a few things. One was an hour of Edgenuity for language arts. The second, an hour of Edgenuity for social studies. I also asked you to do a video. And in that video, I asked that you go through and you watch the video on YouTube that I posted on text structures and to give me 10 things that you learned. Now, while that's a good lesson, it's not my best lesson. I kind of had to put things together rather quickly, and so what I have done today is I prepared a much better lesson for you, and we're going to focus on that. We're also going to spend some time talking about the expectation for the comparing presidents' speeches that you will be writing. So that's kind of an overview of where we're going today. I am coming to you again with no shoes on. And I am also coming to you in front of my front door. So I don't know what we're going to have to call this, but we're going to have to call this like front door lessons, I don't know. So you guys can email me with suggestions for names for these segments, and I can change my YouTube channel to match that name. I don't know, maybe it's Barefoot Musings or Front Door Teaching, I don't know. But we're going to start, guys, with text structure. So what is text structure? Text structure is how a group of words are organized. It's how writing is organized. So sometimes we have things done in chronological order, sometimes we have things done in cause and effect, sometimes it's problem solution. Now you're going to recognize these words because Ms. Eckert and I constantly refer to them, especially in history. We'll say, guys, this was a problem. What was the solution to the problem? Or this is cause and effect. History is usually told in chronological order, so from beginning to end. Think of the way our textbook is structured. We started with the conquistadors and the settlers and all the explorers, and we've moved now into the Revolutionary War and the outcomes of the Revolutionary War, etc. So that's chronological order. But we also have cause and effect. General Howe did this in the Revolutionary War, which caused General Washington to do this. When General Washington did this, it caused General Howe to do this. So we have those types of relationships. This is very natural. So what I've done over here is I've set up what I call real world categorizing. And so if you look here, this literally is the mail that just came in today. I just pulled it in.
Is my stuff here?
And when I looked at this, I see junk mail, junk mail, junk mail. Ooh, CVS coupon. Because I am frugal, a word from yesterday.
No, you're not.
I'm a little bit frugal. I do like, I'm not an extreme couponer, but I do like my coupons. So I will definitely take advantage of this 20% off. All right, here's shopping. Oh, more coupons, more shopping. Ooh, and really extravagant shopping. This is what Val Harbor has on sale.
Oh, wait, can I have that?
No, Addie, you need to stop talking during my lessons, child. All right, so I can categorize this. When I really look at this, in reality, this is all junk mail. There's not anything that's pressing in this. There's not a bill, there's not a letter from my mom. So I would categorize this as all junk mail. We do this all the time. Addie, can you zoom in right here? So these are the little Russian nesting dolls. These are actually magnets from my refrigerator. All right, back up. So these are organized from big to little. So from largest to smallest. We do this as well. If you look here, I have 4 little things of hand sanitizer. They're all the same size, so that's one way to categorize them. They're all the same shape. That's another way to categorize them. But they're all different flavors. A 4th way to categorize them. If you look here, I have a series of plastic cups. Now, if you look at this, and I don't know if I can grab all of them. I'm not quite that talented. Oh, yes, I am. Ha-ha, I did it. All right, if you look. Okay, if you look, I have all examples of plastic cups. And we can categorize these into different organizations or categories. Sorry, my husband's working from home, so they're disrupting him. All right, so we have these that are all the same size, same shape. Now they are different in the aspect that they are all different colors. We have these, which are plastic cups. They can all be categorized similarly because they're all blue. We have these, which are all theater cups from Broadway. You have two that are clear and one that is white. So there's all these different ways to categorize things. All right. The final thing that I have that's a real world example are these books. All of these books happen to be by the same author. But if you look, they're different shapes. So we've got Dr. Seuss in this size and we've got Dr. Seuss in this size. So guys, we naturally do this. We probably organize our bookshelves. We probably organize our pen colors. This is just a naturally occurring thing. So when you think about it like that, you can start to see, wow, this is a pattern that's all around me. It's also all around in our literature. When we start looking at literature, there's different types of text structures. And so let me show you this one actually. This is just something that I put on the side that I was going to take a picture of and post.
I should have done that.
All right.
Is that okay?
So we are going like this. We've got the definition of how the information is written and organized within a text. Like I said, as human beings, we naturally categorize things. And when we learn this concept, guys, it helps us to process information. It helps us to process information, but it also gives us an up when we're taking these things like standardized tests or answering questions in any class or in life. If the problem is presented as problem solution, you want to answer it problem solution. If it's cause and effect, you want to answer it in a cause and effect way. So that gives us the pattern from which to start. Now then, one of the things that I added to this lesson was I added some 2-column notes. On one side, you're going to see the type of text structure that we have. There's basically 5, but I've extended it to 7 just because I feel that you guys are kind of ready for this. So if you look, we have our text structure and then an actual example. They continue on to page 2. So how can we identify text structures? Well, one of the things we're going to do is look for these signal words. There's always signal words. Just like in life, there's signal words to let us know when there's a transition. We might get a word like but, we might get a word and. These are words that signal to us that there's a relationship or a pattern. So within text structure, there's also some clue words. I'm not going to go over all these because you have this document online, and that's simply a waste of your time for me to have to sit here and read these to you when you can read them at home. But again, I hear the 5 basic, and remember that I gave you and a little bit more, and I gave you 7 different structures in the notes. So the first thing that I'd like you to do with this new information is I'd like you to first watch the YouTube channel that I gave you. That one's to music, so my kids who enjoy music and changing graphics really fast, that's really going to hit your learning style. My more logical pattern thinkers, this one's going to be a little bit more in for you, but both are really good and both are valuable, and they'll both fill in little gaps along the way. The second thing I'd like you to do is look at the handouts in this file. And I have all this written out for you guys. It's all on the document that I posted as the update for today. So you're going to look at these documents. The next thing you're going to do is go through the 2-column notes and read, go through your clue notes and your clue words and read. Finally, I want you to look at this. Now, before you look at this clearly says answer key. We don't want to look at the answer key just yet. We want to look at, we want to look at these 3 things. What I've given you is a graphical representation for what the text structures might look like. Chronological would be in a timeline, sequence, step 1, step 2, step 3, cause and effect, problem solution, and compare contrast. That's just a visual representation of what these text structures look like. So then I've given you 5 different scenarios. And I'd like you to match the scenario to this specific text structure. And I've done this twice. This one is just general information, but this one's really cool because it's all about the Revolutionary War, which is what we're studying in class. Then I give you a third example. And the third example is I want you to try to identify the main idea, then choose a text structure, and then I'd like you to try to come up with a little title. I have provided all of the answers for you. Now, why am I giving you the answers? I'm giving you the answers, guys, because I need you to be able to self-check, because I'm not there as a class for us to go over these and talk about them. Those of you that are working with partners, either through FaceTime or WhatsApp videos or on the telephone, feel free to do this together. This is not an I got you moment. This is just you taking ownership of that learning. But what I do want you to try to do first is I want you to do exactly what we model in class. I want you to try it on your own, and then I want you to do that share and compare. So if there's 4 of you on a FaceTime video, I want you each to have this individually done. After that, I want you to compare and then justify why your answers are what they are. Some of you might want to change, some of you might want to stick with what you have. Now, do I expect you all to print this out and do it? Absolutely not. This can stay on your computer. You don't even have to print it. However, if you do want to print it and you want to bring it in to me, I am more than happy to use that as additional grades or to bump up averages if it's needed at the end of the 9 weeks. I get that this is a lot of paper, I get that it's a lot of ink, and a lot of your parents may not want you to do it. You could also write this down on simply a piece of notebook paper. So for example, this would be modeled as text structure 6. You would write, why do we have schools? And then you might write the answer that matches it. You might have milestones, maybe the answer that matches it. I'm gonna look at this in milestones, and I'm just gonna give you a little indicator here. Milestones and all these days, I'm probably gonna go with chronological, just because it's got all those days in it. Just a little bit of voice of experience there. And so you can also write this on a piece of paper and not have to write anything down. The second half of your assignment today is this one, which is really cool. Guys, this is taking 2 different presidents, and you're going to do a little bit of research. We've given you some ideas of things that you can research, but remember, you can add anything you want to this, whatever you find to be interesting about these presidents. So what you're going to do is you're going to then, once you have this information, instead of just writing a report, we're asking that you do speeches. A speech about one president, and then a speech about a second president. They need to be about 1 minute to 2 minutes long when you're actually going to speak them out. So when you read it out loud, you want to make sure that it has good pacing, and you want to make sure that it's about 1.5 minutes, well, between 1 minute and 2 minutes as you're reading aloud. Then you know you have enough. So we're going to challenge you a little bit on this. I'd like you to get into this and do some research on the actual president. If your president is a humorous president, well, make it a humorous report or a humorous speech. If they had a Texas drawl, don't know if y'all know this, but Lyndon Baines Johnson, the president that took over after Kennedy was assassinated, he had a long L drawl, and he talked real slow.
And
Smart guy. And yes, and as Addie just said, that was my grandfather's roommate in college, so we actually knew this guy pretty well, and I actually got to meet his wife before she passed away. Okay, we had John F. Kennedy, who spoke with these really eloquent pauses and was very crisp. Guys, a lot of these you can go into YouTube and you can actually get a video of these presidents speaking. And you can look at the cadence of the speech, you can look at the dialect of the speech, and you can pattern your words after that person's words. So that kind of adds that element of fun to it. Anyway, so that's what this project is about. Number 4 is about us presenting the projects, and I really want to be able to do this when we get back. We just kind of have to play with the schedule to see when we actually go back and when we're able to kind of get back into the groove of things. So that kind of gives an overview of what we're doing today. Again, text structures. We have the text structure is how information is written within a text. and I've given you the YouTube lesson. This lesson right here, guys, is mandatory. This is the one that will be turned in for a grade. The other stuff that I gave you is optional, although I really wish you will do it because that's where you're really going to get those learning moments. If you look here, I talked about this briefly. We have history that's chronological, cause and effect. Literature is chronological sequence, but all will be present. Guys, remember that in literature, you're going to have every single one of these text structures. It might be a simple paragraph, it might be a sentence, but those text structures will be there. Science is cause and effect, problem solution, compare, contrast. I bet you can already think of scenarios right now, thinking of Miss Flores and Mr. Shaheen talking, that you can see these events happening as the book evolves or as their lectures evolve. So I hope that all is treating you well. I love you. I miss you. Send me questions. Guys, remember that my office hours are 8:30 in the morning to 11:30. Send me questions. If you are unsure of something, guys, get some clarification. I'm there. I'm literally sitting in front of my computer waiting for it to ding. So answer questions on that. Questions on what we should call this, front door musings. I don't know. Whatever y'all think is fun. And by the way, I'm not going to get dressed up or put makeup on every day for y'all. Y'all going to have to see me in yoga pants and running clothes. All right. Peace out until day 4. I love you. And until tomorrow.